First of all, I would like to inform you that today before the Arunachal birth people's Denshuk, the long life ceremony from the Arunachal people, it was originally planned that His Holiness would be giving this teaching. Avalokiteshvara sadhana. So, but then the plan changed and I was asked to give the teaching. So there's no need to So in this case, I wish to tell you that if you have not had any Dharma connection with me, then just by sitting in here for this teaching may not be taken as creating a guru-disciple connection with me as such. And if you wish to not sit in this teaching, for this teaching, you may also leave. And if you are in a hurry because of your work, you may also leave if you wish. So this is the Heart Sutra. So thus I've heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgir at Vacha Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of Sangha of monks and great gathering of Sangha of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered Samadhi that perceives all phenomena called profound illumination. And at that time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, the great being, while practicing the profound perfection of wisdom, so in this way he saw the five aggregates to be empty of nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, how should a son or daughter of noble family train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom? Addressed in this way, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, said to Venerable Shariputra, Sharadodiputra, O Shariputra, a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom should see in this way, seeing the five aggregates to be, even the five aggregates to be empty of nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Also form, emptiness is no other than form, and form too is no other than emptiness. And in the same way, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness are empty. Thus, Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness. There are no characteristics. There is no birth, no cessation, no impurity, no purity, no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose. No tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, and no mental phenomena. No I dhatu up to, no mind dhatu, no dhatu of dharmas, no mind consciousness dhatu, no ignorance, no end of ignorance up to, no old age and death, and no end of old age and death. no suffering, no origination of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since the Bodhisattva said no attainment, they abide by the means of Prajaparamita, perfection of wisdom. Since there is no obscuration of mind, there is no fear. They transcend misconceptions completely and have passed definitively beyond all suffering. All the Buddhas of the three times, by means of Prajaparamita, fully awakened to the unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the great mantra of perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as true, since there is no deception. The Prajaparamita mantra is said this way, that Yatha Gata Gata Paragata Parasamgata Bodhi Swaha. Thus, Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, the Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva's great being, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family. Thus it is, O son, noble family, thus it is. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have taught, and all the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, that whole assembly of the worlds with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One. So this clapping and then the mantra of Heart Sutra are said to avert any obstacle to this teaching. So we'll have a short mandala offering. Vajrabhumi Ahum, the foundation is the golden foundation is firm. The boundary is a ring of iron mountains. And then here is the Sumeru in the center, the king of mountains in the center. In the east, Puravavideha. In the south, Jambudvipa. In the west, Aparagodhaniya. In the north, Uttarakuru. And to the east, flanking Puravavideha are Deha and Videha. To the south, Chamara and Aparachamara. To the west, Shat and Uttaramantrina. To the north, Kurav and Kaurav. Here are the jewel mountains, the wishing tree, the bountiful cow, and the spontaneous harvest, and so forth. So we make this offering to Jitsinjam Losan Tenzin Pelsampo, his eminence, Samdhong Rinpoche. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, is adorned with Mount Sumeru, the four continents, and the sun and the moon. Thinking of it as blessed Buddha field, we offer it. May all beings enjoy the happiness, the perfect Buddha field. To the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Community, I take refuge until I'm enlightened. Whatever merit I gain from listening to his teaching, I dedicate it for the sake of attaining Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. So this is recited 3 times. The Lama says, whatever merit I gain from giving this teaching, I dedicate it to Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. So this is calling on all the different types of beings, gods, goddesses, demigods, and so forth, to come and listen to the teaching. So Master Tsongkhapa says that this precious human life is very difficult to find, but very easily it goes away. So it is very important for us to practice the Dharma day and night. I, the yogi, have done this, and you, the aspirants of liberation, should do likewise. And so we are born as human beings, we have met with the teaching of the Buddha, and we have this wisdom, the intelligence as human beings to differentiate between what is right and wrong. And so this life, the precious human life, is like a wish-fulfilling jewel. And so if you are not able to take advantage of this precious human life, then there is nothing greater regret in this life when you go away from this life. And so this time, because of our past karmas and merits that we have created in the past, we have found this human life now. And you should not think that, oh, I may be able to find such a human life in the future as well, again and again, but that is wrong. So having found this human life, we should get rid of all leave aside all the mundane activities. And so we should pursue the path to liberation from this samsara. And in this life, now. And so Tsongkhapa says, I have done this myself, and you should also do the same. So as the Kadamba masters of the past have said, that if I don't die for a couple of months, I will do my best to create the causes for a better life in the next lives. And if I live for a couple of more years, I will do my best to create the causes for the lasting happiness of enlightenment. And so it is indispensable for us to work for the enlightenment while we have this opportunity in this life. And so we should rely on the perfect teacher and practice the 3 trainings of morality, concentration, and wisdom in this life. And so here we are going to go through this Guru Yoga practice, which is the Guru Yoga, combining His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, and seeing the Guru, His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, and Avalokiteshvara, the deity, as inseparable. So I would just read through the text slowly and won't be able to make much comment. So whatever path, the practice of the path of the three types of beings with three types of faculties, you may practice. There's nothing, no practice which cannot be done without connecting it with the Guru Yoga. And so in Tibet, we have the tradition of emphasizing the Guru as the root of all our paths. So the root or the source for the Lamrim, the stages of the path enlightenment, is basically Adisha's lamp for the path to enlightenment. But in there, he doesn't touch on the topic of the Guru, reliance on one's Guru. So within the practice of the Lamrim, the stages of the path, there are different outlines that are given. So we come across is in the Lamrim text is the how to rely on the Guru, who is the root or the ground of one's path to enlightenment. So Master Tsongkhapa had the opportunity to have discussion with Manjushri, and he asked, how should I go about with the quickest path to enlightenment? And Manjushri gave this advice: make your Guru Yoga practice the soul of your practice, and do your practice by seeing the inseparability of your Guru with your deity. And so, with this in mind, you should carry on with your practice of the Dharma. And so, accordingly, Je Tsongkhapa went to Ulka and did his strenuous practice of the Dharma. So, with regards to reliance on Guru, there is reliance on the Guru through one's own action and through in one's thought. So there are different practices in terms of the reliance on Guru as well. So when you do Guru Yoga practice, you have to do your practice in connection with the deity with whom you have connection through your past karmas and aspirational prayers. And so in Tibet, because of the widespread, because Tantra has spread widely, and therefore we have the Guru Yoga practice based on the highest Yoga Tantra. And so you do your practice of the deity, whichever deity you are connected with karmically. And so here in this practice, in this text, it is done. The text is written through with this in mind. And so the special deity of the individuals with whom you have the connection is the blessing for the tea. And the ceremonial sweetened rice. That is blessing for the sweetened rice. So please keep taking your rice and the rice and the tea. So the main disciple for this teaching today is from the people from Arunachal, and particularly the Mönjul, and then the Tibetans from the Tibetan central Tibet, and so the deity who has special connection through his prayer is and determination is Avalokiteshvara. So Avalokiteshvara has generated bodhicitta in front of thousands of Buddhas, and Avalokiteshvara is usually said to be the comically shared or deity of the land of snows, and in the many Mahayana sutras and also many tantric texts which are maybe related with Avalokiteshvara or not. In many of these tantras, there's mention of Avalokiteshvara, and then the Kadamba books of Kadamba, of Adisha and his disciples. And so in these texts, Avalokiteshvara, they mention how Avalokiteshvara is related and connected with the land of snows. So this land of snows actually encompasses a wider space than Tibet. There is the Himalayan regions, and Pakistan, and Burma, and Nepal, Afghanistan, a little bit also. And so, in other words, a language which is based on 4 vowels and 30 consonants that has become one's own vernacular or language or mother language is known as the land of snows. So, with regard to the land of snows, when Upali asked, how should we recognize or identify it? So in a Vinaya text, the Vinaya Vastu, it is mentioned clearly that the land where in the winter, if you pour some water in a container, it freezes and becomes ice. That land is the land of snows. And then Malaya. So also it encompasses or includes Malaya region in the south of India as well. And so these lands where one's mother tongue comprise of the use of the 30 consonants and 4 vowels is, in other words, the land of snows. And so, as it is mentioned, as I mentioned earlier, in the sutras and tantras, many of them, so in the Samatok Goba, the array of precious casket or something like that. So Buddha visited the Rajgriha, and so when he was residing there, the Buddha, Shakyamuni, He smiled, and then rays of light were emitted from his mouth and spread towards the Himalayan regions and Tibet. So the one who, Sarvanivarana Vishkambini, asked the question, what is meant by the land of snows? So the land of snows is some place wherein the sentient beings have not been tamed by the other Buddhas, and it has fallen on the fourth Buddha of this fortunate eon, Shakyamuni, to tame this. And so in front of the Buddha there arose a lotus, a pond in which a lotus was arose, and then the Avalokiteshvara, four-armed Avalokiteshvara appeared, and then the six-syllable mantra was recited by. And so it was prophesied that the Avalokiteshvara would be the deity of the land of snows for Tibet. And so the six syllables have the power to overcome the six mental afflictions and so forth. And so that is how it's mentioned in the Samdhong sutra. So Avalokiteshvara is the sole deity. It is mentioned in this sutra as the deity, the patron deity of Tibet, or land of snows. So in other words, Avalokiteshvara also is the embodiment of compassion of all the Buddhas, and therefore the compassion becomes the essential part of one's practice of the path to enlightenment as well. Sorry. And so the Guru Yoga practice, where you combine the Guru with the deity inseparably, becomes the supreme practice of Guru Yoga. And so six-syllable mantra is the supreme mantra. So there are only six syllables. Of course, when we explain these six syllables, you'll find that the six syllables representing the six paramitas, the perfections, have to do with the path, which is the antidote to both mental afflictions and the obscuration to knowledge. And so this So we are going to go through this text, the source of all attainments. Herein recites what is known as the source of all attainments, the yoga of inseparability of Guru and Avalokiteshvara. Having respectfully bowed to Guru Avalokiteshvara, the essence of compassion of all the victorious ones, a perfect moon, full moon, possessing the white nectar light of blessings, I'll compose the ritual of his profound yoga. And it's been praised not just once in many sutras and tantras that the root of all real spiritual attainments is contingent upon your Guru. As such, it is important to see or visualize your Guru, who shows the unmistaken path, is inseparable from this special deity, and make request to him as the sole basis. This is the sole basis of support for one's lasting goal. So Avalokiteshvara is the embodiment of all the compassion of Buddhas, compassion of all the Buddhas, and Manjushri, the embodiment of wisdom of all the Buddhas. And so, this great compassion, affectionate heart, is indispensable for the attainment of Buddhahood. So, if you don't lack this practice of great compassion, you can combine it with the understanding of emptiness and reach Buddhahood. And therefore, those who wish to practice the Guru Yoga so whatever practice you do, the three factors must be complete: the preliminary, the actual practice, and then the conclusion. And so with regard to the preliminary practice, there are 6 main practices. If you have all these 6 factors complete, then your preliminary practice of the Dharma is going to be perfect. And so, so furthermore, although one can think that the Guru is the one's essence, is of one essence within any deity in whom one has faith, as it is said that love, compassion, and the precious mind of bodhicitta are like the soul, life essence of the Mahayana path, and the great compassion is of the utmost importance at the beginning, middle, and end. Yogis who wish to engage in the practice of the yoga of unifying one's Guru, root Guru, and the Supreme Deity compassion, are Avalokiteshvara should gather offerings. So gathering offerings is referring to the different preliminary practices and other ritual articles at a pleasant occasion, and sit on a comfortable seat. So you should sit in the Vairochana, 7 Vairochana posture with your body in the 7 Vairochana posture. And so you should sit straight with the spine straight and slightly bend your head. And your eyes should not gaze far away. And then from the state of special virtuous mind, first engage in the meditations of refuge. So you need to visualize the object of refuge. So here you may visualize your Lama and Chandrasik as one entity in front of you who combines all the objects of refuge. So you, in order to practice refuge, you should have fear of the lower realms of existence and the samsara as a whole, and also there it can refer to the fear of the obscuration to knowledge. And then you should have this confidence in the 3 jewels, that they are the ones who will protect you, save you from these different states. So in Tibet, the tradition has been that we do both the practice of taking refuge in the 3 jewels and generating bodhicitta together by using certain phrases. So Buddha, his teachings, the Dharma, and the Supreme Community So sometimes people say the supreme, or rather than saying supreme community, that's wrong. And so you do take refuge in the three jewels until the end of this life, or mainly in order to reach, until you reach enlightenment. As we say usually in the prayer, I seek refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Community until I'm enlightened. So in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, all the different orders have this these lines where we say, in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I seek refuge until enlightenment is reached. And then whatever merit, whatever collection of merit and wisdom I amass, through giving and so forth. And sometimes people say, whatever merit I have accrued by giving and so forth. That's a little bit narrow. So Bodhisattva's main intention or the purpose is to serve other sentient beings, and not just reaching enlightenment for themselves. And therefore, the purpose of reaching enlightenment for the Bodhisattvas is to serve other sentient beings. So it becomes a part of their purpose to serve, a branch of that practice to serve sentient beings. So in Abhisamaya Alamkara, it is said, bodhicitta or Chittotpada is for the benefit of sentient beings, to reach enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings. So if you recite this prayer, the one-verse prayer, where you say, I seek refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, if you already have taken Bodhisattva vows, then this verse can also serve as a verse for generating bodhicitta and taking Bodhisattva vows as well. And so we are just done with the taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. And within bodhicitta, we have the aspiring bodhicitta and the venturing bodhicitta, or engaging bodhicitta. And then next comes the four immeasurables. So within this practice of the four immeasurables, you first generate that of the equanimity, the immeasurable equanimity, because when you have that equanimity within yourself, then you will not be biased against anyone, and therefore your practice of love for all sentient beings, compassion of all sentient beings can be done without any bias. So when we do these four immeasurable practices, we say, may all sentient beings have happiness and its causes of happiness, and may I be blessed by my guru to be able to do that. I mean, how nice it would be if I were to be able to, if sentient beings were to have happiness in its causes, and may they have it, and may I be blessed by the Guru to create that happiness and causes of happiness for sentient beings. And then similarly, you can do that practice in regards to or in connection with the rest of the four immeasurables. So then you make your offerings and so forth. And for making the offerings, first you purify the place where you make your offerings. and the place where you invite all the fields of merit. So everywhere may the ground be pure, free of pebbles and so forth, as well as level as the palm of the hand in the nature of Vaidurya and so forth, soft. And then blessing, multiplying and presenting the offerings. You say, may divine and human offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated, become clouds of finest Samandabhadra offerings, filling the entire realm of space. And then you have Om Namo Bhagavate Vajrasara Pramadhana and so forth, to bless it. So whatever offerings you may make, it may also even include Tsampa, the Tibetan staple food, your roasted barley powder. So usually we arrange the water offerings in offering bowls. So we make actual offerings arranged in water bowls, and then mentally we may also visualize offerings in one's as part of the offering, and then the finest Samandabhadra offerings means multiplying the offerings from 1 to 2 and through to 4 and so forth. So you may have one offering of drinking water and one bowl of water, and then that may be mentally, multiplied to 2, 4, 6, and so forth. And so within the offerings, there are offerings which are surpassable and unsurpassable offerings, and they fill the entire realm of space. So it's not just a small offering that you are making, presenting to the merit fields. And so for multiplying your offering, you make this, recite this mantra. So this, through the power of this mantra and the next passage, so this mantra is called Dorje Nobunga, which means the Vajra jewel mantra. Through this, your offerings that you visualize in your mind, mentally, visualize, may become actual offerings through the power of this mantra and the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. And so this is the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vajrasara Pramadana Tathagataya and so forth. And so you, when this you recite it 3 times and make this, and then think that whatever mentally you visualize offerings, they become real. And then uttering the truth, the power of truth. By the power of the truth of the 3 jewels, the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the great wealth of the completed 2 accumulations, and the force of the pure and inconceivable Dharma Dhatu, may these offerings become suchness. So through the power of the truth of the jewels, 3 jewels, the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, and the blessing of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and the great wealth of the completed 2 accumulations of the Buddhas. And so we say, may these offerings become suchness. So what this means is, whatever you visualize, like you may visualize the offerings filling up the whole space before you, then through this the power of this truth, it becomes that much. If you have very small offerings in your mind, visually emanated, then it will be small. So next is the visualization of the merit fields. So you have the merit field and then the object of refuge. So with regard to the objects of refuge, you have that visualization in order to take refuge in the three jewels. And then also you have the merit fields, in front of whom you create merit and wisdom. So having done the refuge practice, you may also dissolve the objects of refuge, or they may be asked to leave the place, send away, and so forth. Or you can actually transform them into the merit fields. So there are various different ways of visualizing the objects of refuge at the end. And then visualization says, in the spacious expanse of the spontaneous great bliss Dharmakaya. So everything is pervaded by this Dharmakaya. So we are not saying something arises out of nothing, but from within this, the nature or the essence of emptiness. So because the Buddha's Dharmakaya, both the wisdom Dharmakaya as well as the truth body of the empty nature of the mind pervades everywhere. So you have visualized all kinds of offerings, and in the center of all these, you visualize a lion-supported throne. In each direction of the throne, you have two lions supporting. At the center of the heap of clouds of various Samandabhadra offerings, it says, is a throne of radiant jewels supported by lions. So there are 8 lions in total, and on which is the seed of lotus, sun and moon. So in Tantra you have, regarding these seeds, there are sometimes 3 or 2 sometimes, and only one. So here we have all the 3 seeds, the cushions of lotus, sun and full moon. And on this is the supreme Avalokiteshvara, the great treasury of compassion. So you have the nature as the Lama, but in the form of the deity. For example, in the case of Lama Chepa, Guru Yoga, Guru Puja practice, you have Jetsongkhapa, in the form of Jetsongkhapa, who embodies the deities and so forth. And so here we have Guru, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, my root Guru, the Vajra holder, possessing the 3 kindnesses. So here you have the 3 aspects or 3 attributes referring to the 3 vows in respect to the Lama himself, and then the 3 ways of being kind to you, the Lama, giving teaching and so forth, and being kind to you in 3 ways. So 3 can be understood in these 2 ways. The glorious Jetun Losang Tenzin Gyatso, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and then with a radiant pink complexion, pleased and smiling. So when you have vision, the merit fields, the complexion, red with a slight whitish tinge, represents or symbolizes the 2 bliss and emptiness. And your right hand is at the heart in the mudra of expounding the Dharma. So this is how you, this gesture that I'm showing you is the gesture of giving teachings. Your index finger and thumb are touched, and then the three other fingers are raised up, which represents the three trainings of morality, concentration, and the wisdom. And then the two fingers, the thumb and the index finger touching, represents the combination of these three, and holds a white lotus marked by a volume of scripture and a sword. Of course, in the case of Manjushri also you have a sword, but here the difference is the white lotus marked with scripture, volume, and sword. Manjushri's emblems. While your left hand is in the mudra of meditative equipoise and holds a 1,000-spoked wheel, you elegantly wear the three Dharma robes of lustrous saffron. So the three robes refers to the two yellow robes, and then so Lagö, which is the white robe that the Gelongs usually wear, and then the Namjar, which has more number of flaps than the Chogu. And then the lower robe. And the Pandita's hat, which is yellow in color and pointed tip, the color of refined gold. And then next is the visualization of the different body mandala deities, because this is related with the highest yoga tantra. Your aggregates, constituents, sense spheres, and your objects as well as your limbs are in the nature of complete mandala circle of the fathers and mothers, the five families and so forth. So there are different ways of the visualizing the body mandala deities. So the aggregates and so constituents, sense spheres, and their objects as well as their limbs and so forth are marked with the so the five in number 5 represents the five Buddha families, the five wisdoms, and then whenever light rays emit from the Buddha, it is in the 5 colors, and so representing 5 parts and so forth. And the male and female bodhisattvas and the wrathful protectors. At the center of the sphere of assembled garlands of 5-colored lights, your 2 legs are in the indestructible Vajra posture, and you send forth heaps of clouds of magical nets for the sake of those who to be subdued. And so the emanations of the Buddha, the Guru deity, can be of different forms, which are suitable to tame the different sentient beings with different dispositions. At your heart is the exalted wisdom being of Avalokiteshvara, with one face and forearms, one pair with our palms joined together, and the lower pair holding a crystal mala and white lotus. He is beautifully adorned with precious ornaments and silken robes. His left breast is covered with the skin of antelope. So antelope skin is the skin of animal named Krishna. And he is in the fullness of youth, sitting cross-legged on a lotus moon and lotus and moon. At his heart is concentration being the radiant white ladder tree, from which light rays radiate to the 10 directions. So you have the three sattvas here, the pledge being the Lama himself, and then the wisdom being the four-armed Avalokiteshvara at his heart, and then the concentration being, which is the three-syllable. And so my guru's three places are marked with the three vajras. So on his crown is Aum, at the throat A, and heart at heart is Hum. So these three letters, Om, A, and Hum, represents or symbolizes the three bodies or three vajras. So the concentration being the three syllable can be placed in front of the Hum. So so the rays of light radiate towards all the 10 directions and invite all the gurus, the deities and so forth, and they dissolve into the Lama. And so my Lama's three places marked with the three vajras, light rays radiate from the letter Hum at his heart and invite all the countless forms of three jewels. By them dissolving into my Guru, he becomes in nature the embodiment of all objects of refuge. So thus visualize the Guru, the triple-stacked being according to the all-encompassing jewel tradition. That means that the Guru embodies all the objects of refuge and their merit fields in himself. And so after this comes the purification of negativities and accumulation of merit. And so you have the 7-limb prayer practice. So the 7-limb consists of prostration, offering, making offerings, confessing, and so forth. So with regard to prostration, your body, beautified by the radiant, complete marks and signs, liberates on sight. Your unceasing speech possesses the melody of 60 harmonious sounds, and your mind of vast and profound wisdom and compassion is difficult to fathom. And so the body of the Lama deity is beautified with the radiant and complete marks of and signs. So these marks and signs, the simulated kind of marks and signs are there also on the body of the Chakravartin kings, but not the complete form of the marks and signs like those of the enlightened beings, fully enlightened beings. So when you make this prostration, you actually visualize yourself with numerous bodies, countless bodies emanating in your mind, countless bodies of yourself and all the other beings, and then making prostration. So to this ornamental wheel of your three secrets, I respectfully prostrate. And then next is offering. Owned or unowned offering substances. So whether there are masters of the offerings or not, actually arranged and mentally emanated, and my body and enjoyment, and all the collections of thoroughly pure virtue that I have accumulated in the 3 times. So you may visualize offer whatever merit you have created in the past, whatever you are creating now, and whatever you will create in the future, as well as the resultant Buddhahood and so forth may be visualized. And I offer this to you, imagining them as an ocean of clouds of Samantabhadra offering. And then next comes confession. Because of my mind being suppressed by the veiling darkness of ignorance, so overpowered by this veiling, darkness of ignorance. So you have, with regard to the misdeeds which you commit that goes against the vows that you have taken, or if you have not taken vows, they are naturally misdeeds or negative actions. And I've committed negative actions and downfalls, both natural and prescribed misdeeds. Whatever faults of wandering astray that I have committed. And so, with regard to confession, you have the four opponent factors. So, the taking refuge and bodhicitta have gone before. So you have this sense of regret and then not repeating the mistakes again in the future. And so whatever faults wandering astray that I've committed, I confess in the state of non-referentiality with strong regret and firm vow to refrain from them in the future. And then next comes rejoicing. Here, according to the 100 deities of the Tushita heaven, you have the Lama. So in the heaps of thoroughly pure virtue accumulated in the three times, by the complete liberation of the glorious gurus, by ordinary beings and aryas of the three vehicles, and by myself and others, I sincerely rejoice from my heart. So it is considered, this practice of rejoicing is considered one of the best kind of means to accumulate merit and wisdom. And next comes requesting the teaching to turn the wheel of Dharma. By playing the profound and the peaceful melody of the divine music of sacred Dharma, appropriate to the disposition of the different beings to be subdued, I request that you awaken all sentient beings from the sleep of obscuration to omniscience and afflictive obstructions. So, next is entreating not to pass away until all living beings have attained the breath of blissful release of the realization of being free from the extreme of cyclic existence and peace with your two legs in the indestructible Evam cross-legged posture. Please remain firmly on the Vajra throne forever. So the merit field in front of you that you have visualized, with your guru being inseparable from your deity. So this is like, when you do this practice of entreating not to pass away, it is like making long life offering to the guru. And then dedication of your merits or the positive energy. Having accomplished the prayers of supreme actions of Samantabhadra, I dedicate. So whatever practice that you have done, from taking from prostration down to entreating not to pass away, that you have done, that you are doing, and that you'll do in the future, I dedicate all the thoroughly pure virtuous actions that I have done, am doing, and will do, so that I may be inseparably protected by my venerable Guru and attain complete enlightenment for the sake of living beings, all living beings. So having accomplished your aim and goal, then you attain Buddhahood. And in order to reach that, you have to be taken care of under the wings of the Lama, the kind Lama. And so it says that I may inseparably be protected by my Venerable Guru and attain complete enlightenment for the sake of all living beings. And then next comes the Mandala offering. This ground anointed with the perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, and the moon, I imagine as a Buddha field, and offer it to you. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. And then comes the body, speech, mind of myself and others, as well as all wealth and collections of virtues of the 3 times, an excellent and precious mandala. Together with a mass of some other offerings, I visualize and offer it to the Guru, Idam, and my 3 jewels. Through the force of your compassion, please accept them. Grant me blessings. Idam Guru Ratna Mantra Kamniyatayami. So, with regard to this mandala offering, you visualize the universe, the cosmos, with the center, Mount Meru in the center, surrounded by the 4 continents and so forth. So you imagine this as a Buddha field, and making offering of this, may all living beings enjoy this pure land, means that may all living beings also accumulate merit and wisdom and become a Buddha in the end. And then the next verse, so you have the actually displayed offerings and the mentally imagined. So sometimes people ask, how come we can make these offerings like the 3 rams and so forth? So what kind of people ask, how can you make such an offering? Of course, the world that we live in has come about through the karma, the collective karma of the sentient beings who live in it. So we have a share of that collective karma in regards to the environment that we live in. So whatever karmic share of this universe that you have as your karma, within that collective karma, I mean, you own it, and therefore you can visualize and offer them to your Guru, the deities and spirituals. Through the force of your compassion, please accept. And then the requesting. Next is a blessing by the Guru, which is to say the purification, doing purification practice through the blessing of the Lama. From the syllable tree at the heart of my Venerable Guru, nectar and light rays of 5 colors descend, enter through my crown. And so from the tree at the heart of the Guru, the nectar and light rays in 5 colors descend. So the nectar refers to the liquid form of the blessing, and then the rays of light also come in the form of light, nectar in the form of blessing in the form of light, and enter through your crown and purify all negativities that you have done and collected, and obscurations. All supreme and common attainments are attained without exception. And then comes the recitation of the Guru's mantra, saying and thinking that recite the name mantra as many times as possible. Oma Guru Vajradhara Bhaddara Kamandu Shri Vagindra Sumadisha Shasanadara Samudra Shri Bhadra Savasiti. So this is, of course, the mantra is in Sanskrit. But what this means is the Lama, Vajradhara, the holder of Vajra, the Venerable Bhattaraka, Swami or Bhattaraka, and Manjushri is Ngawang Jambel, And Tibetan is Wagindra Ngawang, Manjushri Jambil, then Ngawang, then Sumathi is Lozang, Gyana is Yishi, Shasana Dara is Tenzin, and Samudra is Gyatso, Shri Bhadra, Bel Sangpo, the glorious Shri, the glorious Sarvasiddhi Home. So in the book that Rinpoche has, the mantra, a part of the mantra is missing. Samu is missing. So of course, you may recite a shorter version of the Guru mantra or this longer version, whichever is preferable to you. You wish to recite. Of course, so you may recite it 21 times or a whole round of mala, 108 or 100 times, and so forth. And then make requests for fulfillment of one's wishes, which is the, doing a screening meditation of the entire path to enlightenment, of the three path pertaining to the three types of beings. My kind Lord and guide on the unerring path, you are the basis of all temporary and long-term happiness. Having found certainty that you are a mass of countless refuges, please bless me to devote myself to you through pure thoughts and actions. So this is relying on Guru in thought and action. And then next is the covers the the difficulty of finding this leisure and fortune, and how easily they go away or get destroyed or disintegrate, and then the karma. So this. And then comes the three, taking refuge in the three jewels, which practice you have the reflection on the karma, negative, and avoiding negative karmas, and practicing the virtues. So that is the part of the beings of small scope or capacity, and next is related with the beings of intermediate scope. Having seen that all the wonders of Ishwaran are deceptive, just like the seduction of the Rakshasas, and propelled by fierce renunciation, please bless me to practice the three trainings. So of course, even the animals do not like feel sorrow, of suffering, of painful experiences. So to be able to gain liberation, then you need to have the three practice of the three trainings, on the basis of on the basis of morality, you develop concentration, and on the basis of this, then you develop wisdom. And then next comes the practice of the beings of greater scope. Having considered that mother living beings who have kindly cared for me since beginningless time are suffering through the troubles of cyclic existence, and so you are the suffering that they undergo, the mother sentient beings undergo, is something that is unbearable to you. And so please bless me to generate the supreme mind of enlightenment and train in the ocean of bodhisattva activities. And then comes next, bless me to generate in my mind the yoga, uniting calm abiding and special insight, beautified by non-cessation. So you have the combination or the union of calm abiding and the special insight. And so through this combination of the concentration and insight, This is especially emphasized here. 100,000 marbles of primordial emptiness, free from extremes, reflected on the face of the mirror of my very clear and unwavering meditative equipoise. And then, when you enter into Tantra, of course you need to be guided by and taken care of by a qualified Vajra master. And then you have to receive the initiations to practice the tantric path. So having entered the grade of profound mantra through the kindness of my virtuous friend, the qualified Vajra holder, please bless me and with the strength of God to guard properly my vows and commitments, the roots of attainments. So having completely cut the flow of all creating karmic winds with the sharp sword of the exalted wisdom of non-dual bliss and emptiness, please bless me to realize in this very life the Mahamudra of great bliss, the union of body and mind. So according to, through the path of the sutra, of course, we talk about accumulating merit and wisdom for over 3 countless eons, but in the highest yoga tantra practice, because of its special technique of accumulating merit and wisdom within a short period of time, through the practice of the wisdom of non-dual bliss and emptiness, then you are able to overcome these defilements quickly. So, having thus requested, my Supreme Guru joyfully approaches, distance through the Brahma of the aperture, and dissolve into the indestructible drop at the center of my 8-petaled lotus. So this is the practice which is called Lama dissolving into your heart. So this is not part of any kind of, the Guru Yoga practice, like Gadan Layama, that 180s of Dushita heaven doesn't have this kind of practice. So when you dissolve the Lama, the seeds of the Lama, the throne and the 3 cushions, sun, lotus, sun and moon are left, and then the Lama comes forth towards you as you pray to him. It becomes decreasing in his sides, and then when you have to dissolve him or bring him into your heart, you have to visualize the Lama to be small in size, like half thumb size or something. And then he comes to the aperture, the upper opening of your crown, and so where the upper end of the central channel is also open, and then your heart is visualized in the form of 8-petaled lotus, and in the center of which is the indestructible drop. And so this indestructible drop is there that we have received from the parents. Even at our birth, we have it. And so it remains at the center of the heart point until we die. So it has come since beginningless time, and then goes to all the way through to Buddhahood. So all the adventitious, the coarser the forms of energy disintegrate and cease in this life when you die from this life. So what goes from this life to the next is the subtle mind and the subtle wind energy, and therefore they together pass on from this life to the next life. So that mind wind energy that is in the center of this indestructible drop merges, the Lama merges with it, So sometimes you may even visualize this Lama as small as the grain of barley. And so even in that size, you may still have the visualization of the Lama as the triple-stacked deity, as we say, the pledge being, the wisdom being, and then the concentration being. And so at the center of this his heart, you have the six-syllable mantra surrounding the three syllable. So from this syllable, then the rays of light emit from the heart of the Guru and purify the three realms of existence and its beings, so that whatever appears to their senses, whatever sounds they hear, and whatever thoughts and so forth arise, they are visualized as the body, speech, and mind of the Lama deity. So the body of the Lama and the speech, means the mantra. And so within this visualization, you have so many different points, essential points of the completion stage practice. So at the heart of the triple-stacked being, visualized as before, is a tree encircled by six-syllable mantra garland, a stream of nectar descends from them, cleansing away all the illnesses, spirits, negativities, and obstructions, increasing all good qualities of scripture and realization. All the blessings of the victorious ones and their children are received. And so then the next verse, again, light rays cleansing away all the faults of environment and its inhabitants. I rest in the Supreme Yoga, in which appearance, sounds, and thoughts are held as Aryas, three secrets. So at this point, you then do the recitation of the mantra. If you are collecting certain number of this mantra, you do this here. And then at the end, stabilize the practice with the recitation of 100-syllable mantra. So purify all the excess and the omission of the recitation of the mantra. And then dedication practice. Through the splendor of the 100,000 full moon of excellent deeds such as this, may the smiling blossom of the teaching and practice in the Kunda, garden of the Dharma tradition of the victorious one, the treasury of wisdom, beautify the whole world until the end of cyclic existence by making everything auspicious. May the great jewel, victory banner of governance, resplendent and so forth. So through the recitation of the mantra and your visualization of the deity, you dedicate the merit for the Dharma to spread, and then for peace and well-being in the world. And then beautify the end with the auspicious prayers. So it says to end, recite the King of Prayers and other dedication prayers as well. And then through the force of the marvelous compassion, the victorious ones and their children, may all masses of discord and difficulty be pacified at all times and in all directions, and so forth. And so the colophon says, due to the power of his faith, the supremely virtuous assistant Kalun Shenkawa Yurme Sonam Tobgil presented offerings and made entreaties, saying that he needed a brief yet complete glance meditation of the entire path of the Guru Yoga, of the inseparability of myself and Avalokiteshvara, with the recitation of the name mantra and 6 syllables, as well as complete instructions on what should be done in a way that was easy to practice. Although it is unreasonable for me to write a Guru Yoga text such as this, focusing on myself, if one has faith, then just like the dog's tooth turned into a ringsel, a relic, if disciples truly have faith and respect, they will receive the blessing of the Buddha even from an ordinary being. Thinking that it may be of benefit to some devotees, I, the one with the name of holder of the white lotus, Shakya Bhikshu, Jambang Awang Losan Ishi Tenzin Gyatso, has composed this.
Nuju Jan, Rogun Chanabama Yukovan, Lango, Shoji, Demida, Del Ligiru, Manipeme home, Chinunda, Lama Jerese, Lama Jesun Jerese, Chule, Resa, Shemepe, Dinajo, Taking to Jason, Dornine, Soto, Lama, usual Latin, Sanson, Doji, Jinjai, Gozon, Jinji, Lover, Jungan, to
So next year, Rinpoche is also going through the other Guru Yoga practice of Avalokiteshvara. So in this colophon of the shorter sadhana of Avalokiteshvara practice, it is said, having been requested with the offering of a symbolic mandala to compose a new Guru Yoga text that would be easy to practice for farmers living in the villages and people who are illiterate, who need to learn it by heart from those who help by reciting it for them, this extremely short Guru Yoga of Avalokiteshvara was written by the big Buddhist monk Tenzin Gyatso, an upholder of the Buddha's teaching, at the Palace of Good Fortune, Kyesang Photang, in Nobulenka, in Tibet. So, although the text that Rinpoche has only says this short Guru Yoga practice of Avalokiteshvara was written by His Holiness only. So it is very fortunate that we have this opportunity to have this discourse and have the teachings from His Holiness. So in order to make your life meaningful, if you could do the practice of the path with a complete, path to enlightenment, it would be good. And so harmony in our communities, amongst the people, and also doing Dharma practice, spiritual practice well. So these good customs and culture that we have should be kept up with. And so Buddhists and there are other spiritual traditions. So within the Buddhists, there are those of the Sanskrit tradition and Pali tradition. So there are other tribes in Arunachal Pradesh, 21 or so, and so it is important for all of these different tribes, and particularly the Buddhists, whether they are followers of the Sanskrit tradition, the Mahayana tradition, or the Theravada Pali tradition, it's important for us to keep up with all these cultural traditions. So before coming here, I asked His Holiness if there is anything special that I should say during the teaching. And so the Monpa people from Arunachal Pradesh, you have had audience with His Holiness, and then you'll be making the Tenshuk long life offering ceremony to His Holiness. And so you should dedicate your whatever positive energies we have accrued for the good health good recovery, and long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to fulfill all his noble wishes. So now the Thanksgiving Mandala offering. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I visualize it as a Buddha field and offer it to you. May all living beings enjoy the pure Buddha field, the perfect field. The words of truth by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. You whose glory is an ocean of immeasurable qualities, and who look upon poor beings as if they were your only child, Sugatas of past, present, future, bodhisattvas and your disciples, pray heed these lamentations of the truth. May the entire teaching of the Buddha, which dispel all the torments of existence and peace, spread to benefit the whole wide world with help and happiness. May those who hold them, scholars and practitioners, flourish in their practice of the 10 activities of the Dharma. Utterly oppressed by the intolerable intensity of their negative actions, deprived beings are tortured by interminable suffering, pacify their unbearable disease, wars and famines, and bring them the succor of infinite joy and well-being. In particular, the people of Tibet, inheritors of the Dharma, are being destroyed by the many evils of a barbarian horde, malevolent and heartless. In the river of blood and tears, arouse the forces of compassion that their torment may swiftly be stopped. Those hosts of savage oppressors, cruelly crazed by their own demonic passions, who bring ruin on both others and themselves, deserve our compassion. May they develop a complete vision of right and wrong and appreciate the benefit of loving care and friendship. Such, since a long time, the wish for which most dear to my heart has been for all Tibet to enjoy total freedom in the natural combination of spiritual and secular spheres. Grant that I may soon have the fortune to take part in that celebration. For all those who undertook hundreds of hardships for the sake of the doctrine, and those who hold it, the country and their compatriots, sacrificing their cherished bodies, lives and possessions, Lord of the Patala Buddha field, protect them with your compassion. In short, Lord, protect Avalokiteshvara in the presence of the conquerors and the bodhisattvas. I pray, take under your care the Buddha field of the land of snows, that the good results of the vast aspirations you may have right now may swiftly come about by the profound dependent arising of the absolute nature, the emptiness and appearance, the power of the three jewels, compassion, the strength of the words of the truth, and in the infallible forces of the cause and effect. May these, our aspirations of the truth, be accomplished without any hindrance. May whatever is taken by